Hello, welcome to the Patreon-only episode of the Clown World podcast. I'm here with Danny O'Brien still.
How are you?
And we're going to be talking about what's racist this week for a start. So the Norwegian government, it was Norway, not Sweden, but they funded a study, same thing.
That's racist.
Man, those Scandinavians, they all look the same to me. But the Norwegian government funded a study to find out if white paint is racist, and this is a Snopes fact check. Man, this is the thing. Anytime I check like Snopes, they always say, "Oh, this one actually does say mostly true." A lot of the times they say something's false when it actually is true. They'll say like, "No, this is false." And they'll say like, "Oh, I mean, it is true, but there's context that makes it false." And it's like, no, it's actually. But anyway,
you can highlight any paragraph and then pick whichever you want. Then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But this, there's a grant funded by the Research Council of Norway exploring the impact of titanium white paint, which is a Norwegian invention, apparently. I don't know why they had to paint stuff white, and I'd assume
I'm assuming because it's the same colour as snow, which is what the country's covered in most of the time, and it probably makes the most sense to like reflect light and stuff.
They wanted to hide some tanks in the snow from when they're invading Russia. But yeah, so it's a Norwegian invention, and Norway's now, racked, with guilt that it released this white supremacist product onto the world, because white paint, of course, is white, and white means whiteness, which is white and which is bad.
Ironically, the only people who would be titanium white in the world as a race would be Irish and Scottish people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand where people get the time to even do this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that us doing our fucking stupid jokes
Yeah.
is valuable, but also I'd much rather be in a comedy club making someone laugh or doing something, doing anything, than investigating the level of whiteness of fucking paint. I'm like, how have you got this much time in your hands to do this bullshit?
Taxpayer funded. This is whenever the government gets involved in stuff, like it always ruins it and makes it worse. Like, so science should just be like a cool thing that's finding out, like making hoverboards or curing cancer or something cool like that, making cigarettes that actually just make you healthier, like a healthy cigarette packed full of fiber. That'd be amazing. None of this like fucking unhealthy cigarette. But they're not doing that. Instead, they're like, like a vaccine for other things. Why don't they get a vaccine for, I don't know, the cold or chlamydia or something that,
Why don't they put some more
people.
money into mental health? Because Norway and Sweden and a lot of the Scandinavian countries have some of the highest suicide rates in the world.
Yeah.
Why don't they do something to do with that, or to do with seasonal affective disorder,
which really affects them because they don't get the sun for 6 months of the year.
Yeah, exactly. To me, that would hold more value than the whiteness of paint over you, Leo.
Yeah. And like, man, so that's you're paying tax for it to be like, it's bad enough paying tax in the first place. This is why, like somebody had to go at Elon Musk. They're like, oh, Elon Musk, billionaires like Elon Musk should pay tax. So that then we can deprived people can do stuff with it, or we can spend it on, the government can spend it on improving the infrastructure, whatever the fuck. Man, Elon Musk, billionaires like Elon Musk, by and large, have proven that they're really good at spending money, because when they spend money, it like generates wealth, it creates jobs, it like advances technological progress. Whereas when the government spends money, it just, you might as well bury that money in the ground. It's getting spent on stuff like shit comedians they get Arts Council grants and stuff. Because man, all the comedians who get Arts Council grants, they're the ones who can be bothered filling in a form. They're not comedians. Comedians aren't form fillers.
No, I'm contrary to that, because I put on a festival during COVID, and it was the most laborious, painful.
Did you apply for the equivalent of?
They made it so difficult that if you fuck up once, you lose it all. It's like,
and you've got to pretend that you're ethnic and transgender and all the rest of it all the way through the process.
They didn't even care about that. They just made the process so unbelievably arduous and difficult. Yeah. And you had to send screenshots of everyone you paid. Like, if you got a 10 grand grant in Ireland, you'd pay 20 grand and never have to apply for it again. I would get a credit union loan and I'll work fucking 3 jobs. I'd be given rub and tugs at all male saunas, man, to just never have to pay. Anything would be better than paying those fucking doing those forums.
Yeah.
They're mind numbing, and it's kind of it's a game in itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, like listen, there's the old saying, and this is very applicable to that as well. Some people do it on the stage, some people do it on the page. You know what I mean? Like, so you get all the write ups and this, that, and the other, and it's this, that. Like, you're either fucking funny or not. Like, do you want to be funny or go to fill in their forums?
Yeah, totally, man. And I think COVID was a lot of people's first experience of filling in forms to get funding, because we didn't have any gigs and we had plenty of time to sit around filling in forms. So we wanted to get some money. I think I didn't complete the application, but I started applying for money from Creative Scotland, because I was living in Scotland at the time. I don't know, some people did it. Some dog shit comedians got funding. And man, it was, like you say, it was so arduous. Even though I wanted the money, I just couldn't fill in the form. It was, man, it should be
based on your tax. Like, I pay tax for myself, and I pay tax for my company every 2 months. I pay my VAT. You should have just got money based on what you earned, because you paid more taxes, so therefore you get more money because you contributed more. But like in Ireland, it's so fucked up that coming out of COVID, they ramped out. Obviously, we all knew coming out of COVID, we're all going to have to pay the piper. I don't know if it's similar over here in the UK, but in Ireland, everyone from musicians, actors, comedians, bars, restaurants, a lot of them have closed now as a result of this.
Yeah.
They got fucking lamped with tax bills.
Yeah.
And you're like you have to pay them back. But if you just went straight from COVID government payment and you went on the dole in Ireland, you would be financially way better off.
Yeah.
Which to me is insane.
Yeah.
You're getting punished for working hard.
Yeah. And you know what it's like? You get like offered work and you're like, man, so I could bust my gut and I could go and do this work. I could, drive the Hull, whatever I need to do this work. And but man, once I've paid tax on it.
Yeah. It's cut in half.
There's no point me doing it. It's like, what am I going to need? Then I go and buy stuff and I'm paying tax on that. And then like if I try and save it, I'm paying tax on that. And then if I try and take it out, I'm paying tax on that.
Doing shitty gigs, you just got to go to yourself, what am I going to get out of this?
Yeah.
Like I'm doing a couple of new material spots tonight because I've got to get a bit ready for TV.
Yeah.
I have to get that bit ready because that's really fucking important.
Yeah.
I'm not just going in to have pints. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
like otherwise it's a stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
Like if you're going into a new material night and just rattling your old tens, or a couple of people go, "Oh, what a legend."
Yeah, so you get a bit of an ego boost.
You're a fucking idiot, and it's just short term thinking.
Yeah. It's really tempting though.
It is. Yeah. I've seen so many comics
also the
do
first
it.
bit, I do it all the time. But the first bit that starts tanking, you're just like, here's this bit.
Alright, anyone ever been on a train? Anyone ever been to Coventry?
Yeah.
They're like, oh my god, I can't believe that decade-old material is brand new. There's nothing worse than trying out new material. It sucks.
Yeah, and like you get that. Even if you're killing it, it only takes like one bit. You in 20 seconds, you can go from like killing it, being like, oh man, I'm just surfing this wave, and then like all of a sudden it's like they've clammed up, they've lost all faith in you, and like your throat's tight and your mouth's dry, you've got sweat in your face. Oh man, it's brutal.
There's nothing worse than when you've tanked with a bit of material, right? And the silence is so painful. And then you take a drink of water to gather your thoughts, and that void of any energy in the room, and you did that. It's your fault. You just like with Slimer in Ghostbusters, you took all the Kraken energy and you sucked it into the box, and you're just like, and it's like in your head you're like da 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 da, and there's literally 200 people just staring at you, human, and it's only 10 seconds, but it feels like a decade. Oh, it's gonna be me later.
Another thing that's racist, because that's the other thing with comedy. It takes a long time to get like, I know when you see a good comedian, it looks like they're just spinning stuff off of the top of their head or whatever, but no, it takes a long time to like get an idea and work it up into something that works.
A good bit, a 10-minute bit takes years. It can take 10 years to be as tight as it can possibly be. It's,
and that's why I'm still doing it in the material night.
Exactly.
Another thing that's racist this week is astrophysics. According to this professor,
of course, I've said this for years.
So she says, as an astrophysicist, I'm a product of institutions that are steeped in systemic racism and white supremacy, according to Natalie Gosnell, who's a PhD. She did an interview. She says the tenets of white supremacy that show up in physics are individualism, exceptionalism, and perfectionism. I think this is quite a racist thing to say. She's saying that being an individualist, believing in the individual over the group, wanting things to be, and being exceptional, being ahead of the pack, ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
And also wanting things to be perfect. Those are things that are white things. That's a very...
I think she's making a general societal statement and trying to make out, like, that's not... I work in universities. I do workshops in them. They're the most progressive and, like, you know, you got to be...
Yeah. I guess she's looking at the history of astrophysics. Because, I mean, I guess it was, you know, Galileo, Copernicus. Were they... I don't know if an actual white supremacist would see them as white, though, because they're from, like, Italy or whatever.
But they're also too busy hating.
Yeah,
they give all their energy into hating other races as opposed to like focusing on astrophysics.
Yeah, white supremacists don't like space because it's black. I mean, that's what I'd have thought. But she also says that there's a lot of sort of male oriented language that's used to describe stars and stuff. So she says there's a star that was described as a bad boy of the cosmos, because it's the bad boy of the cosmos because it eats other stars. Other stars get subsumed into it. But that wasn't even an officially recognized term.
And it's also a negative thing.
Yeah, it's a negative.
Can you not even give us the negative?
Yeah, and also she's saying like all these she said, well, we use all these violent terms to describe the stars and the reactions and explosions and nebula and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, because they're massive fucking explosions. Of course, we're going to use some Rambo style language to describe that.
Yeah.
It's fucking huge. It's blowing up.
You're not going to call it like, you know, look at this vanilla slice or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's just,
look at this petunia, this buttercup.
Look at this meek nasturtium. Galaxy imploding on itself, like 400,000 civilizations wiped out.
Did you hear about so the Brit Awards went gender neutral? So I think it was last year, there was a bit of a kerfuffle. There was some scandal. Woke people were very upset because Sam Smith couldn't be represented in the Brit Awards because he's they, whatever the fuck he's called. Yeah. You're supposed to call him they, but like, you know, it's obviously a fella. But this video is getting kicked off YouTube now. But because Sam Smith wasn't represented because he's non-binary, so he's neither a man nor a woman, even though...
So he couldn't get best male artist, best female artist.
Yeah, so he didn't fit in either. So I think I don't know if he was like excluded or if he was upset at being in one category or anything. But anyway, because of that, they made it genderless. There's only one category. It's like gender neutral. But
so
they were all men.
The award for best Sam Smith. Was there like an edit? Do you know what I mean? So the award for like, well, how did that even work? Best artist.
The award for best artist. So it was
they didn't do the same in the Golden Globes, did they?
I don't know. I don't know.
They didn't because like Colin Farrell won best actor for the Banshees of Inisherin, so it hasn't gone that far. Like, what the fuck do you want? Like,
I know. Well,
what do you want? Like, where do you want this to end? Is what I always think, and I'm like, if you firmly believe that it's going to really dramatically impact and make our society better, that's okay. Yeah. I just don't really see what the end goal, and like, I just find it a weird way of bullying. I'm sure a lot of people have the right idea, but this is, it's just like, I just find all this shit is a way for people who aren't happy with their lives to bully.
It is, and also they're these weak nerds who are using all this woke stuff, using it as a lever as a stick to attack people and bully people. And they shouldn't be bullying. When nerds bully people using all this woke stuff, man, that they're culturally appropriating jocks. Bullying should be the preserve of the jock. You should be muscly. You should take steroids before you can bully someone.
We a lot of people in our industry who are like, you know, attacking people on the internet and trying to cancel people in Ireland. And I know these people. I've given them lifts to gigs because they can't drive and stuff like that. And I'm like, if you saw any person, they, them, any kind of person in any shape or form, young, old, getting attacked on the street, I know for a fucking fact they would watch that and would not do a fucking thing.
Yeah, because they're weak and spindly. Their bones would snap.
I'm no fucking alpha man. I'm no scrapper. But like, when you see wrong things happening, like we were in Edinburgh with your mother who's in her 70s and Darius. Darius like was like looking at like a bird on a wire and he's like, why are they shouting? Like, but outside the toilets. There was about 6 Scottish lads punched a dude, and pretty much knocked him out for no good reason. The guy had a moustache, maybe it was because of the moustache, I don't know. And the dude was concussed, man. He was in bits, and we ran over and we were like, "What the fuck?" And we kind of pushed him away, and then they sat back down like nothing happened. Had to get the manager over. It was really awkward, and we got rid of them. And like, you're not like you're a fucking hero, but when you see bad things happening, the right thing to do, don't put yourself at risk. But if you can try and, like, they were going to kick his fucking head in.
Help
they were around him to stamp his fucking head in, and I didn't want to watch that because I wouldn't have been able to sleep that night. I don't understand how people can constantly attack people online, not think that it has any consequences. People kill themselves all the fucking time from online bullying. I don't understand how this is any different. And I don't want to fucking bully anyone. I'm sure I've upset people in my life and maybe like took the piss or slagged and been a bit of a prick. Absolutely. But I don't want to go out of my way to make someone feel like shit or make them want to fucking throw themselves in a river on the way home. And that's what a lot of this shit causes. They're not trying to find a solution or help anybody. They're just trying to bully people. That's it.
No, 100%. 100%. And like it's and also there's no making them happy. So the Brit Awards, because people were complaining there wasn't the space for Sam Smith, they're like, "Oh, fine, we'll make it gender neutral." Then all the panel, the ones who are going to win, were male. So then Owen Jones pops up and says, there's not enough women represented in this gender neutral Brit Awards category. So he says, he said, "My view is gender neutral awards should reserve 50% of nominations for women." It's like, well, that's just the same as it fucking was. We had 50% of nominations for women because we had the male and we had the female. Like, there's literally no fucking, like, you change it to make them happy. They're unhappy with the new thing it's been changed to, and they want it changed back.
And then they go, "Okay, that's much better." It's where it was. It was where it was for the last fucking 20 years, you mental cunts. It's like asking someone to paint the wall blue. No, that's upsetting. Paint it white again. Okay, now what have we learned? And I had
learned not to listen to you.
I had this recently with my club I run in Dublin, and someone gave us a 5-star review. And we always try and match. There's less female acts in Ireland, and that is simply the way it is. Like there's less women doing comedy in Ireland.
But if you go to a babysitting agency, there's going to be more women. It's just
100%. And we always
people
genuinely like some weeks, and like we have dropouts, we have cancellations, and we always do our best to mix it up, right? Genuinely, like for the audience, for ourselves, we want to mix it up.
Same as on Hate and Live, we try and get a balanced, actual genuine diversity in the show, because it makes it a better show than having like 4 bald white guys.
Next Monday, I have a female headliner and I have a female first half headliner. That's the way it is. And like, it is definitely like lads more often than not, because like if there was more, I'd book more. But someone left us a fucking review and they're like, they left us a review and they're like, "Amazing club, one of the best nights ever," and blah blah blah. And like the week before, I'd fucking a good friend of mine was headlining, and she's brilliant, and she's selling at her second Vicar Street right now. She was on the week before, so it just happened that week that this person wasn't on. She said, what did she say? "Great club, amazing atmosphere, brilliant show, 5 stars. Would like to see more women represented." So give us 5 stars. Would like to see more women represented. Do better. Whoever's whoever's programming this. And I'm like, I ran that club for 12 years. I work my fucking arse off. We do, you've no idea the amount of work that goes in. Tell you what, why don't you start a comedy club, run it for 12 years, then you can tell me to do better. You fucking dickhead. I just, it drives me up the wall, man. It's like, you've no idea what the work that goes into this. And I'm not like, it's so easy to do. It's like literally going to telling someone who missed a fucking penalty in a sports final, do better, do better, having never been on a football pitch in your life.
As well as Owen Jones being all like, we need to make gender neutral awards gendered. Josie Long, so she's a lefty comedian. She's slagged me off in the past, obviously, because she's lefty. But she posted this.
Who hasn't slagged you off? I definitely have.
So she posted this. She's trying to be a good person. She's like, or trying to look like she's a good person. She's like, "Kids do not need diets, weight loss drugs, or surgery to fix their bodies." It's like, yes, Josie, your terms are acceptable. Obviously, she's talking about fatness. So kids shouldn't go on diets, shouldn't be given weight loss drugs, and shouldn't be given surgery to stop them being fat. But ironically, what she's doing is being transphobic by saying, kids don't need surgery. It's like, yeah, I'd agree. You know, we don't need to do unnecessary surgery on children that changes their bodies to fit in line with some ideology.
No one and no kid wants their child to be on a diet or to take drugs or to take surgery.
Unless
it
they're
is
super
a last
fat.
resort because they've usually tried everything else. I have a few friends
for fatness.
They've had to get gastric band surgeries.
Yeah.
And it's been really dramatic because mentally they're not able to deal with a diet, and they went for last resort, and it worked for them, but they have to work. It's like being an addict. Like, you have to work on that stuff every day, but this isn't something that people are fucking throwing around. No one is putting their kid on antidepressants or fucking getting a kid gastric band surgery. Do you think that that's the first solution to this problem? Are you off your fucking head? Your kid eats like 2 Twixes and you're like, that's it. Fucking let's restrict their restrict their stomach and make it a third of the size of what it was or whatever.
That's when it becomes a serious health issue. I mean, and the thing that's weird about it, so she's obviously meaning, she would never say that about, you know, trans kids or kids who get gender dysphoria or whatever. But like for obese kids, that actually is damaging to their health, as we've been talking about. It's like very damaging to your health, and then you become an obese adult, you're going to die young.
These vague statements drive you up the wall.
Having gender dysphoria doesn't really, you know, do you any in itself. It doesn't do any innate damage. It just means, you know, you've got this sort of mental dichotomy between how you identify and what your body actually is. And quite often that's caused by, you know, puberty or, you know, just the strains and the weird and the craziness of growing up and going through all those changes, and it'll resolve itself in, like, you know, 90%, 95% of cases. Puberty resolves it, and then you do get like some people are genuinely transgender and need the help to transition. But yeah, man, like,
but that's good that there's help there for people. Like, I'm all for that. By the way, like you don't want to stop anyone being happy in any shape or form, and whatever people need to do that, that's totally fine. But this vague, it's literally like going, hey guys, racism is bad, and then someone doing that, and I'm like, yeah, we fucking know. Like no one's gonna drop tools in the middle of a fucking gastric band surgery on an 11-year-old whose teeth have fallen out of their head because they've lived on Coca-Cola since birth. No one's gonna go, you're right guys, drop the surgery tools. Do you not think that was a conversation that was had prior to that? Thanks guys, I want to go live my life in a more positive way. It's like going into a prison and going, don't murder guys. I never thought about that. You fucking for real, like.
And it's funny, man, these comedians who have messages in their shows about, like, hey guys, you shouldn't be racist, you know, racism is really bad. It's like, man, you're doing a show at the Pleasance. It's £18 to get in. Like, everybody who goes to your show reads The Guardian and likes you because you're this woke lefty comedian. Who the fuck is having their mind changed? What racists are going to your show and coming out and being like, well, that show really changed my mind. I used to think, no, they're already going in believing that, and then they're coming out patting themselves in the back.
I always find it a massive red flag of people telling people to be better, and usually those people are pieces of shit themselves. And I've seen them be extremely abusive to staff and other comedians, and bullying and online bullying and setting up like weird little splinter WhatsApp groups to bully people there. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Talking of childhood obesity, do you want to see a video of Sam Smith? This is what he looks like, or they looks like now. I don't know if this is his new music video, but man, he's only like, he's got the body of a comedian. That is, I guess maybe living like Sam Smith, you're eating a lot of service station sausage rolls.
Is he vegan as well?
Vegan.
Vegan is not healthy, man.
He didn't look very vegan. Yeah, I worked with a vegan guy, and all he ate was like, pizza
crisps.
And stuff. Yeah, and like, just stodgy carbohydrates, but like with seed oil. So
Sam Seed Oil Smith. his thighs looked like 80% seed oil.
Yeah. And talking about,
it looks like a sack full of seed oil with tattoos.
I saw this. This might be from ages ago. I don't know. It's from when Piers Morgan was on Good Morning Britain. But I thought this was interesting.
Hazel, you did bring up in, as a little girl.
Well, I did assign binary pronouns to Hazel initially, yes. And then when they were older, they articulated a preference for using they, them pronouns.
Right, just so I get my head around all this, obviously very complicated. Not to you, but it's complicated to me. So let me try and just lay this out. Explain your domestic setup. You're married, is that right?
Yes, I'm in a multi-adult family. There's 3 of us that are raising 2 children, an 8-year-old and my 1-year-old.
And how would you describe yourself? You were born biologically male, or how would you describe
I'm
it?
non-binary. Yeah, I'm non-binary, which means that I don't identify as a man or a woman, and I use they/them pronouns.
Okay, and your wife or partner, is it a wife? How would you describe your other half?
Well, all of the adults in my household identify as transgender or non-binary.
Right, and you're only married to one, or you're married to both?
Legally married to one,
Right,
in a
and the one
relationship with another.
so the one you're legally married to, what is their name?
Bren,
Bren, and Bren identifies as
a woman,
a
uses
woman.
she, her.
And she was born a woman
just said a
and
woman.
remains identifying as a woman.
Yeah, yeah, she's a woman. Yeah.
Okay, and who's the third member of the setup?
My partner Luna, who
Yeah.
uses they/them pronouns as well.
And Luna is male or female, or
Non-binary.
non-binary? And okay, but you're not married to Luna.
No.
Okay, and you have 2 children in the house.
Yes.
Okay, and just to clarify again, Sparrow, we don't know whether Sparrow was born male or female because you haven't said that. But Sparrow is now non-binary.
No, Sparrow is, I would say, antigender, which is a term, that means before gender.
Jesus.
Man, it's like a
Christ.
cult. You know, that baby. That's what she's talking about, her transgender baby or non-binary baby or whatever it is.
The level of stress I had watching that reminded me of doing my Irish oral exam, where I had to listen to a tape and then say to the examiner back, and I hadn't a fucking clue. I'm all for everyone's individual preferences, but man, do you know what?
Too much time to overthink.
11 out of 10. They is obviously a very intelligent person.
Yeah.
Because even being able to remember that level, that was nearly like
that family tree is going to be like a fucking, you know what I mean? It's like
that family
4D
tree
chess.
is like what's the name of those fucking like I don't even know what you know those like
It's like a mangrove root. You know what I mean? You know
It's
when they're
like-
all intertwined.
it's like cutting through a giant gorse bush and like the branches in between, and I'm like, Jesus, like it's just such a fucking head fuck.
Yeah.
To even, but it's like, do you know what? This is the way I'm going to simplify how I think about this. Everyone's entitled to their opinions and to be what they are.
Yeah.
But like that to me is like attention's a drug, and I think this is more leaning towards wanting attention than actually caring, because you're trying. It's like a game. You're trying to set someone up to fuck up, and I think he did pretty well there.
Yeah.
To, like,
Didn't step in any of the lines.
But like, you know, like if you step a foot wrong and you say something wrong, or, like it's just waiting to attack, and I'm
And
like,
you're just hauled in front of HR.
Yeah,
and these rules that
and
were
like,
set up as a
if-
defense are
yeah.
now being used as a
if you're
sword.
being a piece of shit and you know that like you're going to upset someone by purposely saying that, and it's very fucking obvious that you're doing that, you're being a wanker about it, right? Fair enough, you get reprimanded, but like, you know, Jesus Christ, like I was watching, I was like, but how, and then they're like, well, you said everyone in your household identifies as non-binary, but then you said your partner
was born as a woman and identifies as a woman.
But then that means they're not. Like, you literally you contradicted yourself. So what the fuck you want? Like,
unless you misunderstood the question. I mean, what I'm fine with people identifying as whatever, you know, whatever.
Absolutely.
Fine. But then, like, she's having kids and she's like, oh, I've got a non-binary baby. And it's like, you don't have a non-binary baby. What you've got is a baby that's been raised in a household where everybody's non-binary.
Yeah.
So now, you know, I mean, that if you raised that kid, you know, with a Mormon family, it would be a Mormon. If you raised it with, you know, a Christian family, it would be a Christian. You're raising it with people who belong to this gender ideology cult.
When a baby's born, you have to decide when a baby's born. It is literally, and
it's not really a decision. It's like, you know, the doctor just says, you know, like, okay, it's a girl.
That's not a decision. And then
it's male or female.
After that, if they or the parents want to decide, but initially they have to do that at the start.
Yeah.
Because they have to. Because they can't like be sitting around. They have another fucking 2,000 babies to come through. They can't be fucking around.
Yeah.
You don't get that chance because
I think this
you
baby's
got to do like births.
this baby's anti-gender.
You got to do birth certain stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like,
Yeah.
That was like that was the most stressful thing.
And like you say, she is obviously intelligent. I think she's just directing that intelligence in a strange direction.
But you can be sound about it and try and educate people and go, listen, this is the way I think, and I know it's easy for this to mix up, so let me simplify it.
Yeah.
Not make it really difficult on purpose, so then you can fucking attack people for fucking it up.
Yeah.
It's like saying like something really like a riddle to someone,
Yeah.
and then you fucking up the riddle.
Yeah.
And you're like, what do you mean? What do
Yeah.
you mean? Like, and then me like punching the head off you because you didn't fucking say how many woodchuck. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's not how our brains
It's like,
work.
you know, if you read all the Bible and stuff, then you know all the like rules and stuff
Yeah.
in the Bible. So then you're, you know, the sort of priest. And this is the same sort of thing. They've got the intelligence and the time and the inclination to read all this stuff and find out. Man, if you're struggling to feed, if you got 11 kids, you're like living in a favela slum somewhere.
Yeah.
You won't have time to like, you know, work out which baby's anti-gender, which one's non-binary, which one's
You're trying to live.
affective
You're
gender
thinking
and
about
stuff.
tomorrow, man.
You're trying to feed your
You're
fucking
thinking,
babies.
You're thinking about what you're going to eat the next day.
Yeah.
And
This
like,
is a real like post sort of. When we talk about first world problems, it's a real like problem of privilege. And these people will be the
Yeah.
first people to complain about privilege. But fuck me, is it not a privilege to like sit and overthink your own toddler's gender?
I can't remember if I've taxed my car now. Just after watching that, I'm like, did I? I feel stupider.
Yeah, like somebody's put a bucket over my head and hit it with a
I've
spoon.
pushed something out there. Something's now gone from like I was like Rain Man there. I was like,
And here's someone with no pronouns. So I didn't know this was a thing.
First, I want to say that anybody can have no pronouns. Whether you're agender, non-binary, or just no pronouns align with you, you can use no pronouns. Now, what that actually means. This means instead of using any pronouns to describe this person, you would be using their full name. I'll use myself for an example. Knowing my pronouns are they, them, you would say, oh, they went to the store and then they recorded some TikToks. But if I were to use no pronouns, I would say, oh, Rachel went to the store and then Rachel recorded some TikToks. Some folks who use no pronouns will also sort of abbreviate their name to create their own pronoun. I'll provide an example. For myself, perhaps I decide that I want my pronoun to be Ray because Rachel is too long for me to say sometimes. Then I would say, Ray went to the store and then Ray recorded some TikToks. That way I'm still not using any pronouns that exist or any gendered pronouns. Instead, I'm almost using my own nickname as a pronoun. Does that make sense?
It's like the Brit Awards thing, how they've gone like, you know, they introduced gender neutral and then people, oh, but there's no women. So then they're like, okay, well, the gender neutral ones should be split into men and women. It's like, well, that's what it was before. This is the same sort of thing, man. It's like...
do you know how you could say, I never want to ever watch that ever again? That's horrible. You could literally summarize that by that whole video by going, hey, how's it going? Rachel, all right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Do you ever meet someone and like, hey, how's it going? What's your name? Danny or Dan?
The short version of that is, I've got a name.
Rachel, all right. Rachel, all right.
My name is Rachel.
How you doing, Rachel? All right. That whole thing could have been summed with, how you doing, Rachel? All right.
Yeah.
Which is what we've been doing
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We've just gone back to whatever the fuck we were doing
Just
before.
stole a minute of my life. I could have been doing anything there.
Yeah, and now I can't remember my car tax either. So, actually, I did forget my car tax one year. It was only 30 quid. My car tax is only 30 quid.
Mine's
and
like fucking 400. That's the difference between Ireland and the UK and why you deserved Brexit.
But yeah, my car tax is 30 quid. And I forgot it because they
I
fucked
can't
up.
even fill up my car for 30 quid.
They fucked up. Well, I can't fill it up for 30 quid, but like they fucked up my my form, the change of whatever the fuck address form or something.
Yeah.
I sent it when they never sent me a new one, and then because I didn't have that form and the number on it, I couldn't. This is a very boring story, but I couldn't pay the tax. So then I was like, I still need to pay the tax. Forgot about it. Then they picked my car up off the street, and instead of just being like, you know, oh, we've seen your car and you owe us this tax, they fucking stole my car.
Yeah,
didn't tell me.
That's insane.
Didn't tell me. I go to get my car. This is in the middle of COVID, so I haven't seen my car in like a month and a half or something. I go to get my car. It's not there. I'm like, somebody's stolen my car. I'm outside a carpet shop. So I go in and I'm like, did you see a car being stolen? And they're like, no. And then eventually, after phoning various people, the police and all these other people, I find out it's actually been taken to a car pound. I've got to go and bust it out and pay like, 400 quid to get it back.
Surely that warrants an email.
And
Or
then,
a text.
yeah, just
or an
tell me.
Send me an SMS.
They sent a letter to my old address because they
class.
fucked up my change of address. But then, so I go pay to get it out. I thought that was it. Then I get a court summons that, again, they've sent to my old address. So I never got it until, they've got all these, added on all these charges and stuff. A court summons, because apparently there's another thing that I had to pay that they didn't, that was in the letter that they sent to my old address.
Why did you not pay the thing we didn't tell you about?
Man. And I ended up, and then I got on the phone to them and they were like, well, actually you could, you could fill in this form and raise a thing and then you won't have to pay all this money and all the court fees and stuff. And then so they sent me the form.
So they literally Ray or Rachel'd you.
They sent me the form and this form was like an arts council funding form. And I was just like,
just
man,
pay it.
I'll just pay it.
Yeah,
I'll just pay it because there'll be
Suck that
something there'll be a box I don't tick and then I've got to pay twice as much again. You know what I mean? That's why we need less government. It's not the only reason, but it's a good reason. So yeah, but this gender ideology stuff is coming everywhere, and now we're getting transracialism as well, which I think is great. There's this lassie who says how it started, how it's going. So she started off definitely white, and she says, I was so scared to post this, but here's my transracial transformation from January 2022 to now, feeling so grateful and euphoric in my new skin. I'm officially a Nigerian.
Not to be bad, but I don't want to be ahead of the curve on this person, but in the last 15 years, I think a lot of Irish girls have unknowingly transitioned into Nigerians every Friday, Saturday night in Dublin through the medium of Primark, fake tan.
And hair curlers.
How, if you're, I'm friends with a couple of Nigerian comics, and they'd be fucking outraged, man.
Yeah.
They'd be fucking imagine saying that.
Man.
That's like putting on whitening cream and going, I'm finally Irish.
But isn't it interesting? There's a lot of women, a lot of normal women born with a fanny and stuff that are outraged. All the Sam Smith, or not Sam Smith because he doesn't say he's a woman, but Eddie Izzard being like, I'm a woman, and it's like, man, all right, you put lipstick on, you're not a woman.
Yeah.
Maybe the hot ones, yeah, like the woman who runs Miss Universe, yeah, definitely. But you can't just be a lumpy bloke and be like, oh yeah, so I'm a woman now. You know what I mean? And and at least she's put some effort in. She's changed the color of her skin. She looks.
But if you've gone to fair enough, right? You can be officially any country you want in the world. But you've got to go through the process of changing over your passport. If you do that amount of admin, you are that person. You are that country, my friend. You are, and you deserve it. I won't hear anyone fucking argue against that. If you're willing to, have you ever lost a passport? Have you ever tried to get your own one back? If you're able to fucking convince, imagine the corruption and shit you'd have to go through. You deserve to be any country you want.
Yeah.
But that's mental, and it's fucking offensive, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
You can't just put on fake tan, curl your hair, and go, I'm Nigerian. Are you fucking mental? Seriously.
Just the last thing we'll look at. So this is talking to the pronouns thing. This is actually there's another one in the transracialism. So there's more than a third of white students lied about their race on college applications, and about half of these applicants lied about being Native American. More than 3/4 of the students who lied about their race were accepted. So white students are lying about being they're saying they're not white to get into universities, and it's working. And maybe the universities have got because they want to get the good students and stuff, so they're saying, well, this lets us take from a bigger pool than if we just have these strict quotas.
No one should ever have to lie. And do you know what? It's fucked, man, because a lot of races had to lie the other way for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of coming fucking full circle now.
Yeah,
but it was rotten then, and it's rotten now.
Yeah.
For different reasons, but it's shit that's the case.
Yeah. And then just finally, so this is on the pronouns thing. So this is somebody saying that using the wrong pronouns is the worst sort of transphobia.
However, I think there are different levels of transphobia. On a scale of 1 to 10, messing up someone's pronoun would be lower on the scale, while offenses closer to 10 would be deliberately using the wrong pronoun, or being Caitlyn Jenner. I personally would put refusal to date trans folks on the lower end of the transphobia scale. I just don't understand why folks can say that they accept trans women as women and then refuse to date them even though they're attracted to women. In my world, that's acceptance with an asterisk. It's like saying that insects are food or that Tucker Carlson is a human. Both are technically true, but...
Tucker Carlson is a human and insects are food. But by the way, that's the bass player from Megadeth. No, that's a transgender comedian called Erin Moore. Don't know where they're from. But like, man, this whole thing of like, you know, if you use the wrong pronoun, it's some sort of hate crime. It's like, how would you even know? Because you'd only use the wrong pronoun. I mean, I guess you could. Like, we could be in a group and I'd be like, oh, you should ask Danny. He knows blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But mostly pronouns are just used when you're not there.
Yeah, I genuinely don't think, or maybe there is some people that are like wind-up merchants like yourself who want to fuck with people and piss them off, but I think people are genuinely trying to do the best with anything, and they don't want to upset people, because genuinely as a race, we don't like confrontation because it's stressful and stuff that we don't need, but
fun.
I don't think people are going to go out of their way to like purposefully and like, you know, and like, you know.
And also if somebody's made you know, some efforts, you know, Erin is obviously like a transgender woman. There's maybe some clues, you know, they're biologically maybe born different, but they're not like just one of these lumpy blokes who just, oh, I'm a woman, you know, and the self-identification rules you now can just say, and you don't need to adhere to any, you know, stereotypes of being a woman. You don't need to, you can have a beard, you can, you know, you can have bald head, all the rest. Anything that's like stereotypically male, it doesn't matter. You can just say you're a woman. Whereas Erin's obviously put some effort in. So yeah, I'd have no problem using the right pronouns.
Yeah. I don't know, but like it comes full circle to what we were talking about earlier on. You can't tell people who to fucking fancy or who to date. Like, that's your choice. Whether they're overweight or underweight or what they identify as. It's like, well, you say you accept them a one, why don't you date me? Because I don't fucking fancy it. Because I don't fucking fancy it.
And that's almost a form of coercion.
You can't, it is coercion. You can't, I know what's good for you, well then why don't you date me? Because I don't fucking want it. That's my choice.
And that's a real, like, sort of incel attitude. Incels say the same sort of things. Like, you should go out with me because I'm a nice guy. I've been doing all these nice things.
Yeah, but I'm doing all these nice things. You know, you're coercive and you're abusive and you're manipulating the person into what you want, which is what coercion is.
Saying, it's not real niceness if you're doing it to get pussy.
Yeah, but you're like, you should date me. No. Like, you can let people accept them, but you can't fucking force people's hand. Well, date me then. Do you know what I mean? or like, you know what I mean? It's literally like saying to someone, will you fucking... like, it's horrible. I just know. like you can't have it both ways. It's like, okay, I accept you and I will say what you want. But then date me. No. I don't fucking have to. I could be asexual for all you know. I can happily like call you whatever is acceptable. But you can't force me to date you. You don't know what's going on in my circumstances. That person could have been abused. That person could have... You don't know anything like that. It's like, well, why don't you date me then? What the fuck kind of weird, childish argument is that? You can't expect people to be understanding and then be completely not understand their life either. Do you know what I mean? It's not all one-dimensional and one-directional. You need to do everything. What about what the other person thinks? Why does no one ever think about that? You need to do this and you need to do this and you need to do this. Well, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? I
do know what you mean. Anyway, our Wagamamas is here, so we're going to go. Yeah, Wagamamas. So thanks for listening to the Patreon-only podcast. And
he had a voucher.
And thanks to Danny. And so if you do get a chance to see Danny while he's in the UK or over in Ireland, please do. Great comedian. Or in New Zealand. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye. Bye-bye.